It is Separation Saturday at a jam-packed Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. The 54th meeting between in-state rivals Iowa and Iowa State. The Cyclones have taken 6 of the last 8 games in this series, including a 23-3 whitewashing in Ames last year. We are about 37 seconds away from kickoff at Kinnick Stadium. We have partly cloudy skies here, warm temperatures, rain coming into the area, but not until the game is over, so it should be a dry field. Good news for Hawkeye fans. Drew Tate, their starting quarterback, 2004 Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, is back starting. He missed last week's game at Syracuse with a strained abdominal muscle, and the Hawkeyes had to go to double overtime before they pulled that one out. Speaking of pulling it out, Iowa State has done that in both of its victories, winning against Toledo on opening day in triple overtime, and then hanging on to take out UNLV as the Rebels' last pass of the game was barely out of the end zone. They won it by 6 points. We are underway. Iowa State won the toss and takes it DeAndre Jackson with the first return of the game, and he has a lot of daylight in front of him. DeAndre Jackson takes the opening kickoff all the way down to the 37-yard line. What a start for the Cyclones.
An emotional football game when you have a rivalry. Usually the kicking game, turnovers, and the running game are going to be the difference in this football game. Iowa got out of their lanes, and Iowa State with great field position.
62-yard return for DeAndre Jackson on only his second kickoff return of the season. His other one, he lost a yard on. First play of the game. Brett Meyer, that's his forte, rolling out, but he one-hops it to John Davis. Iowa State, their impact players on offense. You start with number 7 and Brett Meyer.
Run pass quarterback. Todd Blythe also a key. No catches last week. I would figure early in this football game they have to find a way to get the ball to Todd Blythe and not force it.
Stevie Hicks is their starting running back. He went over 100 yards last week. As you got a quick look at Blythe, he is number 1. Meyer stepping back in the shotgun, the junior from Atlantic, Iowa. And he takes off and gets the first down. Such a threat as a runner. 14 yards and a Cyclone first down. Now our Nivea for men. Iowa State starting lineup on the offense. And you see Tom Schmeling. We highlight him because he is the only underclassman on the line and actually in the starting lineup as he is a sophomore.
Veteran offensive football team, 9 seniors on this starting lineup.
Schmeling, by the way, the great nephew of the great Max Schmeling, the fighter. And there's the first carry for Hicks, and he is stopped in his tracks. He loses a couple of yards. Kenny Owebama, one of the impact players on defense, coming up with the stop. And there is Owebama, such a weapon at defensive end, and also Mitch King and Mike Klinkenborg.
Klinkenborg playing with a heavy heart. His father died last week. He spent time at the funeral this week. They had some of the players and Kirk Ferentz went to the funeral playing with a heavy heart.
But playing with his friends now on this football team, number 40 is Klinkenborg. As it's 2nd and 12 for the Cyclones. And their opening possession, Meyer again on the quarterback draw. He is deadly as he is taken down inside the 20. 7 more yards for Meyer as Klinkenborg gets his first tackle of the day. Let's head down to the sideline and Jimmy Dykes.
Well, Pam, you and Coach are exactly right. Mike Klinkenborg plays this game today filled with unmatched emotions. His father, Myron, passed away Sunday at the age of 66. He immediately left the team and missed 4 straight days of practice. His only preparation has been reading through emailed scouting reports and one practice on Thursday. He's hoping and trusting that the emotions of this rivalry game will carry him through the lack of preparation.
Klinkenborg, 2nd in the Big Ten, averaging 11.5 tackles per game. As another first down, Austin Flynn just tripped up inside the 5, 14 more yards, and the Cyclones are off to a spectacular start.
A good start, started by the kickoff return. When you have that kind of field position, you can open up your offense. Brent Meyer with a nice throw to Austin Flynn, who used to be a quarterback. And quarterbacks that move the receiver have a feel with the quarterback of the defense.
Flynn last year, his first year as a receiver, had 56 catches, so he's been good as Hicks gets it, and his stop maybe picked up a yard. Now here's our Nivea for Men lineups as we look at the Iowa defense. A couple of new cornerbacks on this team. Adam Shada and Charles Godfrey, both first-year starters, but Mike, it's unusual. They're tall at 6'1" apiece.
Pretty good size, and they're going to need that height today when you go against Blythe, who's 6'5", and a great leaper.
Blythe 6'5", 210. Now 2nd and goal, and flags come up before the play starts, and we have a false start against the Cyclones.
False start. 58. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Pam, what makes Iowa State difficult to defend? First of all, Brent Meyer can throw the football, and he's a good-looking physical specimen. But down here, they'll spread out the football field, spread your defense out, and he'll run a quarterback draw.
So they were pushed back 5 yards to the 8, where it is 2nd and goal again. 4 wide receivers in. Meyer all alone. The backfield blitz coming, and he slings it towards Flynn as Miles, number 27, came in on the blitz, put some pressure on Meyer.
May have been pass interference. Moylan, number 14, as Austin Flynn saying, hey, I got held. And he did get held. Missed that call.
Yeah, Moylan, by the way, his first career start today. He's a walk-on starting because Marcus Pascal has a hurt shoulder and hasn't even dressed for Iowa. So, yeah, they get away with one there. 3rd and goal now. Meyer up top looking for his big receiver, Blythe, and he has him for the Cyclone touchdown. Blythe beating Moylan, the first-year starter, and the Cyclones strike first.
Last week, Todd Blythe, 0 catches. Got frustrated, kept a good attitude, come right back. Brent Meyer, who's his roommate at Iowa State, throws him that football, and you saw the leaping ability.
Extra point by Brett Culbertson gives Iowa State the 7-0 lead. The 62-yard return of the opening kick sure helped. Blythe's 3rd touchdown reception of the year, 21st of his career, and his first since game 1 of this season. Iowa State upset Iowa last year. And we come back. Drew Tate leads the Hawkeyes. And what you're seeing in high definition was a beautiful first drive for Iowa State. DeAndre Jackson taking the opening kick back 62 yards. And then Todd Blythe catching an 8-yard touchdown pass from Brett Meyer.
Pam, I thought it was great that the graphic you look at right here outscored the opponents 143 to nothing in the last home games, 11 home games. That's why I thought it was a good decision by Dan McCarney to take the kickoff and take it right away. With a veteran offensive football team, you send a message.
Last home game in which Iowa gave up a point was September of 04 to Iowa State. Sean Green having trouble handling the kickoff as an Iowa helmet comes flipping out of the pile. He is stopped around the 20-yard line. Green picked it up and got about an 11-yard return. Our first look now at the Iowa offense and the impact players. You have to begin with Drew Tate, their great quarterback. They really missed him last week against Syracuse.
A big boost for him to be back in this football game.
A very talented running back behind him in Albert Young. Ran for over 100 yards last year against Iowa State. Herb Grigsby, the wide receiver, getting Tate's first pass and a stop just short of the first down. by Chris Singleton. Let's head down to the field with Jimmy Dykes.
Well, Pam, I talked to Drew Tate yesterday, and he said he had a full-speed practice Wednesday and Thursday, has not had a treatment since Wednesday. The coaches say they will not have to game plan around that injury today. Interesting, I stood with Kirk Ferentz during pregame warm-ups as he watched every move that Drew Tate made. He turned to me and he said, the one thing I like about my quarterback today, he has a live, rested arm. He expects him to be full speed. The question will be how he responds tomorrow morning.
Said he originally hurt that muscle in preseason camp in August, as coming around from his receiver spot is true freshman Dominique Douglas. Flags coming down at the end of the play, perhaps a face mask, but Douglas, a very dynamic true freshman, first true freshman to start for Iowa since 2003.
And that's a good way to get a freshman started in the football game. You don't throw him the football, you hand it to him on a reverse.
Douglas, a freshman from Detroit, as we get the call.
Number 15 on the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And it's a big one, a 15-yard penalty. Now the Nivea for men starting lineups for the Iowa offense. Herb Grigsby and Dominique Douglas. You already saw Douglas do some work. These wide receivers today, aggregately for Iowa, only 41 career receptions.
And they really have to depend on Scott Chandler, the tight end.
Chandler is their leading receiver, as Sean Green is now in the backfield. He is fake to Tate on the roll, has Young out in a pass pattern, and Drew Tate, who is one of the quarterbacks least likely to ever slide, takes it out of bounds. John Banks helping to force him out. The Iowa State impact players on defense. Big play Curvey. Brent Curvey has 3 touchdowns in his career.
And Rashawn Parker, a true freshman who's 6 foot, 235, but he's going to run against road graders today. 2 300-pound tackles for Iowa.
Alvin Bowen, you saw, leads the entire country in tackles. DeAndre Jackson has already shown he's a good kick returner, as Albert Young takes it for a first down. John Banks with another stop.
Pam, I've always felt in football that you have to answer scores. When a team like Iowa State goes right down the field, when you get the ball back, you have got to answer the score, and I was trying to do that.
And they have had an impressive drive so far. In fact, another first down for the Hawkeyes, now on the 39 of Iowa State. The Iowa State defense has given up a lot of yardage through the air this year. In fact, 108th in the entire country, giving up about 292 yards per game in the air. They stay on the ground, and Young doesn't get much as he runs into John Banks, who now has 3 tackles. Now the Nivea for men starting lineups for the Iowa State defense. Big play Curvey there on the defensive line, and Nate Frere. Both those guys go 295, and they rotate in a third guy, coach, Atava Rubin, who is 320.
And they got some size at that defensive tackle spot. They're going to need it today.
Iowa, as usual, with a very stout offensive line. They do have, however, a redshirt freshman center in Raphael Eubanks. Everybody else a veteran. Young trips down and gets no gain. So Iowa right now going to be looking at about a 3rd and 8.
Look at last week. They got out of Syracuse with a win. They get their quarterback back, Drew Tate. I was telling Eric Postman the other day, it's like going on a date when you're in high school. You look good, you smell good, you dress good. He said he didn't do that, but you expect good things. Iowa's up for this football game. They expect good things today.
Eric Postman is our producer. Champ Davis now in the backfield in lieu of Albert Young, and he was all alone on the left flank, and Tate instead decided to go towards Andy Brodell, but Adam Carper had great coverage on him, and Iowa State, or excuse me, Iowa going to have to give up the football. They're going to punt it.
Drew Tate had too much on that football. Too hard.
And he did have Davis, who was all alone coming out of the backfield. Davis has 10 career receptions, but none so far this season. That's Ken O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator, having a word with Tate, who's about as fired up as you can get in a quarterback. Andy Fenstermaker in the punt. He's been really good at pinning opponents inside the 20, and he does it again as Fenstermaker dribbles one that is killed around the 11-yard line. So Iowa unable to do anything of substance, at least scoring-wise, in its first possession. Iowa State marched down the field the first time around, and they're coming back when we come back. There's a typical Iowa scene. About 90% of Iowa's land used for agriculture. So many farms here. And how many people in the state are watching this game? What a great rivalry game between Iowa State and Iowa. And the Cyclones now their second possession of the game, starting out though on the 11 after Andy Fenstermaker had a nice punt that rolled dead. Stevie Hicks gets about 2 yards, and we get you over to Reese Davis. Big guy rumbling down the sidelines. Remember, Wake went down 10-0 to Duke last week and were able to come back and win it. As we're looking at a 2nd and 9 now for the Cyclones. Meyer, who's gotten much better as a passer as his career has progressed, gets it over to Austin Flynn. His second catch of the game, good for 4 yards. And this rivalry, not just a great in-state rivalry, but with Dan McCarney and Kirk Ferentz, both with ties to the University of Iowa, and McCarney really has done a great job.
He grew up in Iowa City. His dad was a police chief here. He coached there at the University of Iowa, and he has made this a rivalry. He has won 6 out of the last 8 games in this rivalry.
And has done well at Iowa City. They've won 3 of the last 4 games played in Iowa City. McCarney now in his 12th year at Iowa State, longest tenure of any Big 12 coach. Austin Flynn gets a licking from Adam Shada and can't hold on. Shada, the first-year starter from Omaha, Nebraska, coming up with the big hit, and now Iowa State has to punt.
Iowa State's special teams have been shaky, so Iowa should have good field position.
Their punter, Mike Brantner. He's a redshirt freshman from Bettendorf, Iowa, and we've seen our share already this season of freshmen who've struggled, but that's a nice hang-time kick to Andy Brodell. And Brodell breaks out of an ankle tackle. A flag comes in as he is dragged down around the 44-yard line after an 18-yard return. We will check out the flag. And the Iowa State players say it's a hold.
During the return, illegal block in the back. 86 return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
You have to watch special teams because you have your guys all cranked up. They want to lay a lick on somebody. They get a chance in special teams.
And there's a lot of licks in a rivalry like this. We'll have much more in the Iowa State rivalry when we return to Iowa City. But Iowa State renting the billboard, and on it you might have seen it reads, "It's a Cyclone State," and it has the Cyclones carrying the Cy-Hawk Trophy off the field last year in Ames. They won that game 23-3, so rubbing it in a little bit between Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. Obviously, this is Hawkeye country, and they're taking it over or want to as Douglas gets his first catch of the game all the way down into Iowa State territory. A 23-yard gain. We get you back to Reese Davis. Thank you, Reese. And here, after a big gain for Davis, Albert Young gets it as a nice goal as he scampers down to the 30. Carper comes up with a tackle.
Go back to that billboard, Pam. When you put that up, I'll tell you, you're going to see that in all the Iowa guys' lockers around the complex. And talking to Drew Tate, he said, you know, Iowa State plays us like they have a chip on their shoulder. We have to play with that same chip, and I think they will play that way today.
Many of them very upset, obviously, what happened last year in that game. All 23 points came off 5 Iowa turnovers in that 23-3 win. Left a sour taste in their mouths, and they want to come back and win. Tate retreating, completes it to Young, who escapes a tackle. Albert Young so talented. Caleb Bird finally makes the stop, but Young showing some of that escapability. Made him a second-team All-Big Ten player last year.
Albert Young, we met him yesterday. He'll talk to you. He'll tell you whatever you want to hear. But Albert Young right here does a good job not going down on the arm tackle.
And that tackle was attempted by Alvin Bowen, who leads the nation, averaging 16.5 tackles per game. But Alvin missed one as he went up high on Young. And Young is listed as 5'10". He's probably more like 5'7". Tate going towards the end zone and is knocked away the first time he has thrown towards his tight end Scott Chandler. John Banks breaking it up.
Really good coverage by John Banks, who's a 6'3" safety. Now, when you go against a 6'7" tight end, that height's going to help you. Just got his right hand in there.
And Chandler is a whole lot of tight end at 6'7", 257. A senior from Southlake, Texas, a converted wide receiver. And now it's 2nd and 10 for the Hawkeyes from the 21. Tate back to Douglas, the freshman, and he is taken down immediately by DeAndre Jackson. Jackson, in case you're just joining us, took the opening kickoff back 62 yards, and Iowa State converting on that short field to score the only touchdown of the game.
Cam, the reason that play didn't work is Mike Jones, the offensive guard, had to get out there to block DeAndre Jackson, the corner. Didn't get it there in time, and so DeAndre Jackson made a clean tackle.
Jackson, a very good player, was a first-team All-Big 12 selection last season. 3rd and 9 now for the Hawkeyes from the 21. Tate looking for Douglas, who broke way after the pass was thrown, and it falls incomplete. And Douglas, the true freshman from Detroit, wears number 88. That was Clint Solomon's number.
Drew Tate just let this ball get away from him too high.
Douglas had some room out there, but there was a misconnection.
He is a competitor, this guy, Drew Tate.
Reminds me facially of Chris Spielman. They kind of look alike, those two guys. And Spielman was a pretty fierce competitor. He still is. Kyle Slicker in. Slicker the kicker from 38. And for him, that's virtually automatic. Slicker now with a 38-yard field goal and is now over 200 points, the 8th player in Iowa history to score at least 200 points in their career. And he has been a good one the last 3 seasons for the Hawkeyes. This is Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City as the in-state rivalry between Iowa State and Iowa, the 54th time these two teams have met. Iowa's lost 6 of the last 8 games to Iowa State, including 3 of the last 4 here in Iowa City. Cam Ward joined by Mike Gottfried and Jimmy Dykes. And last year it was 23-3 in Ames. Not much of a ball game, but boy, Dan McCarney's club got some gifts. This game played September the 10th. Drew Tate left the game with a concussion, making that tackle after he threw an interception. And then Jason Manson came in. That tipped ball goes to Lamarcus Hicks, 28 yards for a touchdown. Iowa State rolls 23-3, all of their points coming off of 5 Hawkeye turnovers.
Yeah, turnovers are big in a rivalry football game. Big in any game, but really big when you have your hated enemy.
And Jackson, who took the opening kickoff back 62 yards, takes a knee for a touchback on his 2nd try as we head back to the studio and Reese Davis. So Cincy with that lead in the first quarter, trying to pull off what would be a huge upset. As Iowa State with a 7-3 lead, Brett Meyer on the roll. And Klinkenborg hits him, but he just gets it off. Meyer somehow able to get that pass off to Ben Barkema, the brother of C.J. Barkema, who played right here at Iowa City. Let's head down to the field and Jimmy Dykes.
Cam, I talked to Brett Meyer, Iowa State quarterback, prior to the game and asked him what would he be concentrating on early in this ball game, especially the first quarter. He said 3 things. We have to win first down. We can't play this game from behind the chains. He said we also need to be penalty free, and he said he has to make certain that everyone is understanding what he's communicating in this rivalry game. The crowd right on top of the field here. He thought it'd be crucial, though, to be mistake-free in this first quarter, Coach.
Jimmy, you're right, but they're moving at the line of scrimmage. They're doing what you said. They're doing good on first down. They're getting 5, 6, 7 yards on first down.
False start penalty will knock him back 5 yards. And let's look at this knock from Mike Klinkenborg. Meyer somehow able to get that pass off again. Klinkenborg playing less than a week after his dad Myron passed away suddenly from a heart attack. Pass complete. Meyer finds R.J. Summerall, the sophomore from Orlando. His first catch of the day.
What makes it tough for Norm Parker and the defense of Iowa is when you have a running quarterback that they move around. They'll roll him out. It's hard to blitz him. It's hard to get after him because you're in man coverage, and if he gets outside, he's going to run on you. It's such a running threat, so you really have to sit back and see if you stop him in zone coverage.
Been averaging 3.6 yards per carry, has 3 touchdowns, all of them against Toledo. Meyer on the ground, and that one is complete for a first down in front of Shada. It is caught by Austin Flynn. Flynn, the former quarterback, actually started as a quarterback as a freshman, and then Brett Meyer came to town.
I've seen a lot of quarterbacks that come to college and then get moved to wide receiver because they have a feel for the defense. Austin Flynn knows where the windows are in the defense. He knows how he can help his quarterback.
He has 3 catches already today. He had 56 catches last year. That's his 7th best season all time at Iowa State, and that was in his first year as a wide receiver, so he does have talent. First down, Meyer decides to tuck and run, and will only pick up about a yard. Kenny Owebama, the junior from Arlington, Texas, a guy with definite NFL potential, making the stop for the Hawkeyes. And has a little chat with Brett while he's on the field. So Owebama heading off the field. Look, they're stuck there, Coach. We have a uniform malfunction. The string from one of his teammates' pants stuck in his face mask, and that's why Owebama couldn't get up. That's a first. So Owebama going off the field now on 2nd and 9, and Meyer decides to hang on to it this time, and he is stopped about a half-yard short of the first down by Edmund Miles, who was the only returning starting linebacker. Remember, they had 2 great linebackers last year here, and Chad Greenway and Abdul Hodge have gone on to the NFL.
And I want to go back to, Pam, the fact that this is a veteran offensive football team. 8, 9 seniors playing on this starting lineup. They make adjustments. They can do so many things because they're veterans.
And they've been good on 3rd down, 3 for 4 so far, make it 4 for 5. As Jason Scales, a sophomore from West Des Moines, Iowa, moving in now as the backup to Stevie Hicks. Josh Johnson now the 3rd running back. He picks up the first down.
Well, they have Michigan, or they have Iowa back on their heels because Iowa defensively, whatever they're trying to do right now, Iowa State has a good beat on them.
And that has been the way things have been going lately when Iowa State takes on the Hawkeyes. They always play this game around this time of year, the 2nd or 3rd game of the season. So now 1st and 10 from the 46 of Iowa. Scales with the carry, and he picks up 3 yards on first down as the first quarter comes to a close. So Iowa State starts off this game with a bang, a 62-yard kickoff return by DeAndre Jackson. Todd Blythe catching a touchdown pass from Brett Meyer. So it's advantage Cyclones in the Battle of Iowa. It is Separation Saturday as we join you from Kinnick Stadium. Over 70,000 people crammed into the this beautifully remodeled stadium. The battle of the quarterbacks. Brett Meyer with the touchdown pass. Drew Tate is thrown for 45 yards. Iowa has a 38-yard field goal from Kyle Schlicker as they trail here. This is the first play of the second quarter. 2nd and 8 for the Cyclones. Meyer up top looking for Summerall. Klinkenborg with blanket coverage, able to knock it away. And you see on Mike's helmet, he has a piece of black electrical tape. All the Iowa players do, and that is a mourning strip in honor of his dad who passed away last week.
Yeah, Mike is playing hard, and he's a 6'7" high jumper in high school. That helped him as a linebacker, helped him stretch out.
Also a terrific student, is on the president's list, not the dean's list, the president's list as a terrific student at Iowa.
4 point.
Not bad. 3rd and 7. Meyer up top. Shaded with the coverage, but that's too close as he is going to be flagged for pass interference on Todd Blythe. Blythe is 6'5". Shada about 6'1". There's Blythe. He caught the touchdown pass here in the first quarter after being blanked last week in the win over UNLV.
Pass interference. 19 on the defense. Penalty, the first down at the spot of the foul. First down.
Trying to look at this replay, see what we think. Yeah, he arrived early.
Got a lot of Blythe in his arms. Blythe won the first game of the season. He had the 3rd overtime catch. That was a SportsCenter play of the day and won the game for Iowa State. Of course, Toledo going to double overtime last night to take care of Kansas, so they've had a couple of nail biters. Jason Scales with another carry, gets 3, and we get you back to Reese Davis. Yeah, they're out there a lot, aren't they, Reese? So Tech getting that first touchdown rather quickly in that game.
Reese getting tough on those special teams.
We got a 2nd and 7 right here from the 28. Meyer, a lot of time. Oh, that's a touch pass. Misfiring going for Austin Flynn, who again was going against Shada. This is Separation Saturday on ESPN. It continues tonight with Bowden Bowl 8, 7:45 Eastern Time, 6:45 Iowa time. Tommy Bowden Clemson taking on Bobby and Florida State. College football primetime on ESPN tonight, also available in high definition on ESPN HD.
Separation Saturday in Iowa. We have 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country right here.
And Brett Meyer, you're looking at him right now, number 7. Drew Tate on the other side, the 11th play of the drive, and Meyer escapes and throws it away. Mitch King and Kenya Webber are all over him. And the question was, can you throw the ball away like that? You have to be outside of the tackle box and get it by a line of scrimmage. But there's no flag.
Got pressure. Mitch King and the Webber put pressure, and they need to do that with the front 4 because you can't give up linebackers against Brent Meyer.
Tell you what, if he was outside of the tackle box, he was just outside of it as Culbertson comes in to attempt a 45-yard field goal. That would tie his career long. A lot of noise in the stadium, and Culbertson can't connect as it was wide left. So the score remains 7-3 in favor of the Cyclones. Kirk Ferentz's guys, including Drew Tate, coming up. ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. That is a shot of the pedestrian mall in downtown Iowa City. Really a neat area down there. They've no longer have car traffic, and there's lots of shops and restaurants and cool things to do. Iowa State here has had the ball almost twice as long as Iowa, but they only lead 7-3. This is Iowa's 3rd possession of the game, and Tate gets it to Grigsby. Herb Grigsby, the junior from Arkansas, picks up a couple. Let's get another update now from Reese Davis. He got walked down around the 5-yard line. BC down by 1 in that game. Albert Young got to get it going. He had 4 carries for 14 yards before that run, but he does pick up a first down, and obviously Coach Albert Young is a huge part of this offense.
Big part of the offense. I think they have to find a way to go back to the zone blocking scheme and turn this offensive line loose and run Albert Young. But getting the ball to him out here, it's like a pitch out where you throw him the football. It's a run.
That one was good for 12 yards on his second catch of the day. Young, very versatile running back. He's a junior athletically, but a senior academically. Expects to graduate in the spring. He might be looking at a decision about whether or not to come back and play his 4th season. Tate, play action, takes off. And Drew Tate able to juke around Alvin Bowen. The nation's leading tackler couldn't get anything on Tate, who picked up 17 yards. Looked like a running back out there.
You're right. Juke and juke some more. Drew Tate trying to make something happen for this football team. An excellent fake. Now he looks. Now he knows he's downfield. He pumps the ball, moves to the left, picks up valuable yards.
And remember, the guy who missed him right there, didn't even get a finger on him. Bowen is the leading tackler in the country so far this season. And Tate is fired up. He's about as emotional a quarterback as you will see anywhere. Bowen looking in now, 1st and 10 from the 41. The Hawkeyes are in Cyclone territory. More play action. And there's Chandler, the big tight end, and he's able to grab it and then lose it. Just had it for a second over John Banks. So Chandler still looking for his first catch of the day, and we've seen a couple of good plays from Banks today.
And Banks again, 6'3".
Chandler at 6'7". He probably doesn't go up against a lot of 6'3" guys. Here's our Aflac trivia question. Iowa tight end Scott Chandler, you just saw him, had 47 catches last year, but we want to know who holds the Iowa season record for catches by a tight end.
I don't know. I've been in the SEC for all these years.
We'll give you time to think about it.
Okay.
Run through some of the Iowa tight ends in your mind there, Coach. Chandler was the leading receiver last year. Had 1 more catch than Clinton Solomon. There's Chandler's first catch in front of Bowen. He picks up 6, and it's time to head on back to Reese Davis. Boy, how about that? Michigan State continuing to be somewhat of an enigma for the past few years under John L. Smith.
They have the Irish next week.
Huge, needless to say. 3rd and 4, and they get the first down. That is Chandler. You can pretty much tell it's him because he's so darn huge. McKenzie and Bowen with the tackle as a flag comes down. Chandler, the brother of Nathan Chandler, who was a quarterback here at Iowa. Came here as a wide receiver, and now is a premier tight end. Told us yesterday his first year at tight end was like a rough baptism. He had to learn while he was on the field.
After the play, unsportsmanlike. 87 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Chandler with a mistake, called for the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Chandler just going to move him down the field in an option route. He makes the catch, goes down. A lot of talking going on right here. Flips the football up at Bowen. Maybe that's the reason for the call. You don't know what else is going on down there. A lot of greetings.
And that's what it's for. You're right,
That's
Coach.
weak.
Yeah, that is. You got to wonder about that being called unsportsmanlike. He flipped it up towards Bowen.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunate, obviously, for Iowa. That was their first 3rd down conversion of the game in 3 tries. And now 3 penalties apiece, and that one knocks them all the way back to the 43-yard line.
A lot of good tight ends around the country. We had Harris last week from Rutgers. Scott Chandler may be the best.
Matt Spaeth up at Minnesota. Clark Harris at Rutgers, as Coach mentioned, but Chandler has more flags come down. And that might have been Chandler again, moving early.
Sometimes when you make a mistake, you take it and carry it with you, and then you don't concentrate. You think back on what I did just before, and then you move again. You got to let it go.
4th penalty on Iowa. as Chandler got up early from his stance, and it's 1st and 15, going backwards now in the 48. Young in the backfield. Out in the pass pattern, and Tate finds him, but that is a tremendous tackle by Adam Carper, the sophomore from Clarinda, Iowa. First team all Big 12 last year. Great open field tackle.
When you run a screen pass, you have to lead the running back, Albert Young, but he led him into the tackle. He needed to cut this football back and allow his lineman a chance to block.
Lost a couple of yards on that play by Carper. He was a great basketball player in high school, also did 400 hurdles and track, a terrific athlete, and he showed it because getting young down is tough, and also a scholar athlete on top of that. 2nd and 17. That one's flared out to Grigsby, and Carper is on top of him. His 3rd catch of the day. Picks up 8. Let's go back to Reese Davis. The pillow fight of the week, according to Reese Davis.
Man,
and folks, we did that Illinois game last week at Rutgers, and that was pitiful. Watching Illinois lose that game 33-0. They couldn't do anything right.
I take exception of the pillow fight because all of these teams are young. They're young season. They're going to come around.
But would you pay to see that pillow fight?
Yes.
Oh, my.
Yes.
You're the one. 3rd and 11 here from the 44. Tate with time. Everybody covered. Now Chandler breaks free, and he just overthrows him. My goodness, Scott Chandler got behind everybody, and Tate just missed it.
That's one where you have so much adrenaline going, and you just let the ball go loose. I mean, Scott Chandler is wide open on this play. Drew Tate buys time. Look at Chandler just throw it up there.
Boy, he got behind 17. That's Tyrone McKenzie, a linebacker who transferred from Michigan State. So the unsportsmanlike penalty and then the false start by Scott Chandler, forcing Iowa back. Andy Fenstermaker in for a 2nd punt, and it is fair caught by Ryan Baum, a very good special teams player for the Cyclones. And they will take over around the 13-yard line. But that, you're right, Drew Tate's going to be thinking about that pass for at least the rest of the day. So they misfire on that pass play. Iowa trailing here 7-3. One of the great crops in this great state. There's some corn in Iowa, and here is Drew Tate reacting to missing Scott Chandler. We've told you that he is one of the more fiery and emotional quarterbacks you'll see, and he really did just miss 6 points by overthrowing Chandler. So Iowa State leading by 4 with the football, and Meyer, this is his talent. Oh, a great tackle from behind, or else Meyer would have gone for at least a few more, and that is by Mike Klinkenborg. Klinkenborg, one of the long line of great linebackers here, and Jimmy Dykes is standing by with another one.
Yeah, a guy that was a 2-time All-American, matter of fact, drafted 17th by the Minnesota Vikings, out for the year with an ACL, is Chad Greenway. Chad, describe for me what it's like to play in this rivalry game.
You know, this is a special game for everybody in the state of Iowa, you know, and both teams take it very heatedly, and you know, the winner of this game really goes on to have a lot of success in the year, and it's a big rivalry game for us, and I think it's really kind of an undertone for the country, but definitely looking forward to on both sides for Iowa's.
What's it like to win this game?
It's a huge emotional boost for your team. It's a great win. It's very fun.
That pass complete to Walter Nickel, the tight end for Iowa State, as he picks up a 1st down. Let's go back down to Jimmy.
You served as a tutor to Mike Klinkenborg. He played this game today with a heavy heart, a lot on his plate. What will you talk to him about after this ball game?
You know, Mike's a great kid, works very hard, and I just tell him to rely on his family right now. You know, it's a very tough time for him and his family, and you know, he's got to be strong for them, and he's also got to rely on his Iowa Hawkeye family, and that's something that is going to help him through it. You know, this is maybe something to get his mind off for a second and go right back to helping his family out after this.
All right, Chad, good to see you. Take care of your knee.
All right, thank you.
Boy, that was devastating. Greenway very promising, hurting that knee in the preseason for the Vikings. His running partner, Abdul Hodge, with the Packers as a flag comes down before this play is underway.
False start. 69 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
That's the 3rd false start for Iowa State today.
Yeah, rivalry game. You're
trying to concentrate. You're trying to do everything right in this game. You make some mistakes. Watching Iowa State, they spread the field. Norm Parker talked about it yesterday. Maybe more than any team in the country, they make you defend the field widthwise because their receivers are split way out.
They do a great job using the entire field, spacing like in basketball, said Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator. Meyer had time, but it evaporates quickly. Awebama getting in along with Mitch King. So the two defensive tackles bringing down Meyer, who's usually elusive.
Awebama, they need that kind of pass rush. Out of the front four, Awebama, number 92, is going to beat the block at the tackle and get right back in Meyer's face, get a hand on him till he can get some help.
King gets credit for the sack, but Awebama fired up, getting in there as well. He had two big tackles in the second overtime last week in that squeaker win against Syracuse, and that was a nice stop on Meyer. Bringing up a 2nd and 18 from the 20. Meyer zipping it and completing it to Todd Blythe. Blythe caught the touchdown pass back in the first quarter. That's good for 10 yards. We join you from Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City as these two in-state rivals go after each other for the 54th time. And Iowa has won 24 of its last 25 home games overall. The last loss was to Michigan here last season. But they are down now to Iowa State. Cyclones have converted 4 of their 5 third downs. This is a 3rd and 8. And Meyer running for the first down, but he slid down very close to the marker. Edmund Miles getting credit for the tackle, but he might have slid down a little bit too early.
I think he got a good spot.
I do too. And they do give them the first down.
Yeah, I don't think he made it. Goes down here. Knee goes down way before the yellow line. He got a really good spot.
So Kirk Ferentz patrolling the sidelines. He worked under Hayden Fry as a graduate assistant and one of many former Hayden Fry coaches who are now big-time head coaches. Stevie Hicks with the carry. Hicks has been silent for a while. Moylan with the tackle, but that looks like another first down for Iowa State.
Stevie Hicks, they hit him right up inside. Veteran offensive line. You got an Iowa defense that's pass rushing every play. All of a sudden, the offensive line of Iowa State comes off the ball, knocks them off the ball.
Hicks hurt Iowa last year, 118 yards on the ground in that win. Iowa State. Meyer keeps it himself, and he is knocked down on the 44-yard line. Edmund Miles staying busy. But that's 8 more yards for the Cyclones and another visit from Reese Davis. Just the way Virginia Tech hoped they would get off to a good start today, and they are doing that against Duke. They did miss the extra point earlier, so it's 13-0. Hicks lunging for the first down, and he gets it. He was stopped short on the previous play, but Shada makes the tackle.
Now watch Dan McCarney on the sidelines. He's on the football field. He is so fired up. And his football team reflect the head coach. He knows how important this football game is.
Dan McCarney, 6-5 in his career against Iowa, 5-2 against Kirk Ferentz. And again, he is from Iowa City, was the captain at Iowa when he played. He also coached here from 1977 to 1989. When he left to take over the Iowa State job. Time of possession squarely in favor of Iowa State. This is the 9th play of this drive, which has now gone over 50 yards as Jason Scales gets the carry and picks up 5. So this is a good Iowa defense, very good front four, but Iowa State is doing some things to them.
Strength of Iowa State's football team is their offense. Veteran group with a veteran quarterback, good running back, a lot of good skilled players that Brent Meyer needs to keep getting the ball in Blythe's hands and all these skill guys.
Brett Meyer actually the leading rusher, 8 carries for 48 yards for the quarterback. Now facing a 2nd and 5, and Hicks, this time going over the left side of the line, picks up another first down. So the Cyclones just churning it out. Matt Kroll making the stop for the Hawkeyes. The Iowa State offensive line is doing its job.
Well, Scott Stevenson, the center, is the key player in this offensive line. Iowa State now has run the ball 18 times for 78 yards.
Stevenson used to be a defensive lineman, a backup defensive lineman at Minnesota for 2 years before he transferred to Iowa State. And that's a huge guy in many ways down for Iowa. Kenny Awebama now slow getting up. We'll be back. Here in Iowa, about 32 million acres of land devoted for farming in this state, including the Frana family farm in Calmer, Iowa. Just a gorgeous state, and a lot of folks watching this game.
Yeah, no one in the field today.
That's right. This is where everything stops when these two teams meet. Meyer with time throws short and completes it to his tight end Walter Nickel. And he is inside the 20-yard line, picking up 8 yards.
Here's the thing. Iowa's defense, the corners right now are struggling because the passing game for Brett Meyer is wide open. It's pitch and catch.
Oh boy, they're making it look easy, aren't they, Coach?
Really. Open receivers. Brett Meyer has time.
And he is now has history. He, with that reception, that throw to Nickel, has the most passing yards in the history of Iowa State football, passing that of Alex Espinoza. 2nd and 1.
This is a good drive that the offensive line has protected Brett Meyer, and then they've been able to smash Stevie Hicks right at the Iowa defense.
Now look at this drive. 12 plays, 78 yards. Hicks did pick up a first down on that last carry. 4 receivers in for Meyer, who has Hicks to his right. 1st and goal from the 9. Meyer takes it all by himself and just waltzes into the end zone. Cyclones score again.
Single wing play from the old days where you just snap the ball to the quarterback. He runs. Tom Schmeling, young guy.
I mentioned that he is descended from Max Schmeling, the boxer, and that one looked too easy. That whole drive was too easy as Culbertson adds the extra point. Iowa State upset Iowa last year thanks to turnovers, but in this game, boy, the Cyclones are firing on all cylinders, and they lead 14-3. Iowa State leading Iowa now 14-3 as the 2nd quarter is winding down, and they just had a very impressive drive. 87 yards, only took them 13 plays, and they chewed up a lot of clock, almost 7 minutes.
Iowa, it's important for them to score some points here before half.
And that kick by Schmidgall is through the end zone. Let's go back now to Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Pam, coming up on the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report, Lou Holtz and Mark May will join me. We'll talk about Separation Saturday, get you ready for those 7 big showdowns that are coming, and an unexpected game going on in between Cincinnati and Ohio State. We'll tell you why the Buckeye struggles might not be a bad omen for the future, and some other Big Ten teams having their hands full, not just the Hawkeyes right now. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, Reese, and the Hawkeyes down in this one as Sean Green gets the carry and breaks free to pick up a first down. Coach was just talking about how they need to get the running game going, and that'll help.
They need a spark right now. They need something good to happen because their defense is really getting it taken to them. Damian Sims, a backup tailback who could go the distance.
Sims is the big play guy, but that last carry again was Sean Green, who picked up 18, excuse me. And the first down. Tate, safety valve pass to Green again. And Sean Green coming in and making some things happen, stopping the clock with 2:18 left to go in the half. That's another first down.
Sean Green, a sophomore, and the running backs need to be receivers in this football game. When you look at Iowa's receivers, they haven't really developed yet. You have the tight end, Scott Chandler, but you have to get the ball to the backs.
We have not mentioned Calvin Davis, a senior from Iowa City, tore his Achilles tendon in practice Wednesday. One of the few veterans on this team in the receiving corps, and he obviously is not playing today. He could conceivably and probably miss the rest of the season. Tate with nowhere to go. Brent Curvey, big play Curvey getting in, and Tate escaping, but the whistle blew to end the play.
Wow.
Curvey coming up with...
I think you got to wait till they go down. Drew Tate moving. I didn't see him down.
His knee was not down. This is a Big 12 officiating crew as the whistle came in early. So another favorable call for Iowa State. Iowa calls timeout now. I'll have a 2nd and 13 when play resumes. The Aflac trivia question, here it is. Iowa tight end Scott Chandler had 47 catches last year, but we want to know the Iowa season record for catches by a tight end. It was not Mr. Chandler.
I don't know.
Marv Cook, remember him? Had a great career in the NFL as well. 63 catches in 1988.
I'll read up on that.
Well, Marv Cook was the great Hayden Fry era. And Chandler, 9 straight games with at least 3 catches. He has a couple today, and if he had 3 catches today, Iowa would have a touchdown because Drew Tate missed him earlier here in this game.
That's one that was a sure 6.
But Drew Tate overthrew him earlier in the 2nd quarter, and he was wide open. So Iowa, after the timeout, 2nd and 14 from the 47. Young in the backfield, but he flips it out to Douglas, and the freshman able to break away for what looks to be a first down. John Banks making the stop. Yep, 16 yards and the first down.
We talked about an earlier play when they ran the screen and the tackle and guard didn't get out in time. Now Drew Tate gets the football out there to Douglas, and the tackle and guard are right out there to block.
Picking up the first down inside of 2 minutes. Ball on the 38 of the Cyclones. Tate under pressure and wisely throws it away. Big time pressure there, and a missed tackle by DeAndre Jackson as we head back to Reese. Reese, you figured it was just a matter of time before Ohio State came back and took the lead, but yep, Cincinnati has historically played them tough. 2nd and 10 after Tate threw the ball away. Going over the middle, and that pass is batted to Chandler to himself. Scott Chandler gathers it in just outside of the 10-yard line. There's his 3rd catch of the day, and it was a good one.
Yeah, he brought the receiver mentality to the tight end position. Just keeps the ball alive, keeps moving his head. He spins around, makes that catch.
And Drew Tate now the 6th Iowa player to pass for 6,000 career yards, but I'm sure more importantly to him, it's a first down from the 11. And that is shoveled over to Brodell, and Andy Brodell into the end zone for a huge Iowa touchdown. Drew Tate fired up. Andy Brodell, a sophomore, only 3 catches on the season, coming in with a very important touchdown before we hit the half.
Cam, that was big for the Hawkeyes.
His first career touchdown, accentuated by the extra point by Schlicker, makes it 14-10, Iowa State. So Drew Tate taking his team 80 yards in only 7 plays. What a way to score your first collegiate touchdown in this big rivalry game set up by big old Scott Chandler, getting the tip ball and bringing it in. 1 play later, the ball's in the end zone. Brodell had 6 catches all of last year, and that is his 4th catch of this season and his first collegiate touchdown.
What's big about that, Pam, is if they can hold Iowa State here in the minute 22, they're going to get the football in the second half. So they have that attack mode right now. Drew Tate's coming off this drive where he took the team right down to score, and they're going to get the ball right back after the half.
A big 80-yard drive and only 7 plays. Iowa State has all 3 of its timeouts remaining. DeAndre Jackson took the opening kickoff back 62 yards to set up their first score, but he was stopped at the 27 by Bradley Fletcher. Separation Saturday continues on ABC tonight. Zach Taylor leads number 19 Nebraska into LA in search of an upset over number 4 USC. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. College football lives here.
Here's where the new rules hurt you because the clock has been moving. 1:13 now down to 1:01.
Clock starts when the returner gets, or when the ball is kicked, not when the returner gets the ball, and then it cranks up before the ball is snapped after it's set for play. And now we're down to 44 seconds, and you just got to sit on it right now, apparently.
With Iowa State having 3 timeouts left, I thought you'd come out, try to make something happen before halftime, but they're going to settle for going in the locker room ahead 14-10.
Dan McCarney, who grew up in Iowa City, as a Hawkeye fan, used to sneak into the stadium as a kid to watch Iowa play and to play on the field himself. Now the head coach at Iowa State. And this should be the last play of the half. It will be a running play to Jason Scales. And that'll do it.
The way he's been beating Iowa, he's going to have to sneak out of the stadium.
Well, Iowa State now with a 14-10 lead, but the crowd something to cheer about because Iowa was able to score on its last possession of the half. Brett Meyer, the leading rusher for Iowa State, has also thrown a touchdown pass as we head down to the field, and Jimmy Dykes.
Yards on you in the last 2 or 3 minutes to tighten this game up. What concerned you the most as you watched that drive by Iowa?
Missed tackles, you know, just horrible tackling, poor fundamentals. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Drew Tate, and he can do that. It was just too easy for them, and we didn't make it hard on them. But we know this is going to be a heck of a college football game. It's a 4-quarter game, and we got to find a way to reach down and play better in the second half, take care of the football, and make plays.
How do you correct those missed tackles before the second half begins?
Well, I can't tackle. I'm too over that. We got to teach them how and make sure that we correct our tackling and our fundamentals in the second half.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Jimmy.
McCarney heading off the field. Iowa State was about a 2-touchdown underdog in this game, but they head to the locker room up 4 over Iowa. Now let's go to Reese Davis for the Pontiac Performance halftime report. Just getting ready for the second half to kick off between Iowa State and Iowa. The Cyclones leading by 4 at the break as they try to beat Iowa for the 7th time in the last 9 tries, even though they're big underdogs in this game. And Iowa known for its strong running game, but so far that has not been the case. As Albert Young, their leading rusher, has only 4 carries for 14 yards. He has been averaging 18 carries a game in the first 2 games for Iowa, wins over Montana and Syracuse. Got to get him the ball.
Got to find a way to get him the ball. Only 6 called runs in the first half. Kirk Ferentz is an offensive line coach, old offensive line guy. He's going to run the football.
Line drive kickoff is taken by one of the up men for the Hawkeyes. That's Champ Davis, the fullback. Here's our game track. Brett Meyer, a touchdown pass, and also a running touchdown. He is the double threat for the Cyclones, an 8-yard touchdown pass that he threw. And then this was way big as Iowa scores on its final drive of the first half. Scott Chandler with the tip catch to himself. And then the first career touchdown for Andy Brodell. Iowa has the ball to start things off, and there is Albert Young getting the first call of the first half, but he doesn't get much at all. Ataba Rubin, the big 320-pound backup nose guard, making the stop. Here's our first half statistics. What jumps out at you, Mike?
Well, the rushing yards for Iowa, first of all, that's number one. Then when you look at the way they controlled the ball, Iowa State, and then 5 out of 7 on third down, but for Iowa, missed opportunities.
Including a touchdown pass that should have been Tate overthrowing a wide open Chandler in the second quarter. And he was sure steamed at himself. Chandler again able to tip the ball to himself. He's done that a couple of times today. Chandler at 6'7", 257.
Only supposed to catch the ball once, but he's catching it twice. Scott Chandler, a tough matchup because he's bigger and faster than linebackers, bigger than safety. So he really has a matchup that you really have to work at and maybe double him. You got to knock him around at the line of scrimmage.
He's been very successful today. This is a 3rd and 3. Iowa has not converted a third down today. 0 for 3. Or just 1, actually. And Albert Young with the catch, but he appears to be about a yard short of the first down. Adam Carper with the stop, as Young was not able to get to the sticks, and Iowa has to punt.
This was a big series for Iowa State defensively to come right out in the second half and stop Iowa from getting the first down.
So Andy Fenstermaker in for his 3rd punt of the day. His first 2 both down inside the 20. R.J. Sumrall waits at the 23 for the Cyclones. Great hang time, but short. Sumrall does not fair catch. Yes, he does. He did make the signal. And Iowa State takes over at the 35 after only a 25-yard punt. Let's go down to Jimmy Dykes.
Well, Pam, I talked to Iowa head coach Kirk Ferentz as he came out of the locker room. I asked him what he liked about that late scoring drive in the first half. He said a couple of things. He loved how Drew Tate got everyone involved offensively and the fact they finally executed. They didn't beat themselves. He said defensively in the second half, we have got to get away from trying to tackle one-on-one and get folks rallying to that football.
So Ferentz, a 2-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, as you see, but he has really had trouble beating this Iowa State team. He's only 2 and 5 against the Cyclones in his career. Stevie Hicks, with his first carry, gets 8.
Iowa State's offensive line so far been able to handle Iowa's defense. Stevie Hicks on the run. Get some open holes. You see the caving in. Here's the Meyer touchdown. Draw play. It just runs in untouched.
Meyer averaged 6.1 yards per carry in that first half. Scott Stevenson, again, the senior center, the best player on this offensive line, as Hicks picks up the first down for the Cyclones. Edmund Miles driving him back, but he was well beyond the sticks.
You go back to the first 2 games, the Toledo game and UNLV game. The one question Dan McCarney has about his football team, they had a chance to put both those teams away and didn't do it. And they left them around till the 4th quarter. Overtime for Toledo.
That's right, as they beat Toledo actually in 3 overtimes, 45-43, then beat UNLV 16-10. This is Iowa State's first road game of the season. Can they put away Iowa? Meyer rolling, time, finds his target. That's the big guy, Todd Blythe. And that is a first down into Iowa territory. Caught that in front of Charles Godfrey. That's the 3rd catch of the day for Blythe, who has a touchdown in this game.
Barkema, the tight end, was so wide open on that play. Brett Meyer didn't see him, but he was wide open. Here's all 22. Watch the tight end. Nobody with this tight end. He's got a sure 6.
Big time blown coverage. Barkema has 3 touchdowns in his career. But Meyer instead going to Blythe, who's been his favorite target. That time outside, John Davis making the catch in front of Charles Godfrey again. Good throw that time by Meyer on the money for 20 yards.
And it tells you, Pam, what kind of arm strength he has. Brett Meyer rose to the right. Now he throws back all the way to the left side. And you see Charles Godfrey can't stay with the wide receiver. John Davis.
Davis, what a remarkable story he is. He actually ruptured his Achilles tendon in spring practice. Usually those injuries are 12-monthers, but here he is back and was back for opening day against Toledo on August 31st. And remember, Godfrey, a first-year starter at corner. Something we expected today was them picking on these young cornerbacks as Hicks picks up 6.
Picking on them, they've done that
big time. Between, boy, Austin Flynn hurt him in the first half. Blythe has hurt them, and that time Davis's first catch of this game.
Down here, when you get inside the 15-yard line, Blythe becomes big because his leaping ability, the fade kind of throw.
Blythe at 6'5", 210. He is number 1 and split out for Iowa State, but instead Meyer hangs on to it. He doesn't get anything. Humpel and Awebama. Good to see Awebama back out there. He left the field favoring one of his legs late in the second quarter. He and Meyer continue to chat. But Kenny is healthy enough to play, their best defensive lineman. The crowd getting into it now. 3rd and 5 from the 16.
Let's see where they line up Todd Blythe. He has an advantage being 6'5". He's the inside receiver.
On the right side of Meyer. Meyer going to hang on to it, and he is taken down. Mike Klinkenborg, number 40, coming up with another big tackle as Meyer is stopped short.
A big tackle by Klinkenborg, because if he doesn't make that play, they pick up the first down. This drive stays alive.
But instead, Brett Culbertson comes in. He missed a field goal wide left in the second quarter from 45 yards out. This one is from 32. And Culbertson able to punch that one through. So Iowa State scores on its first drive of the second quarter. They extend the lead back to 17-10, trying to pull off the upset against Drew Tate and Iowa. Welcome back to Iowa City. College football presented by Cars.com. Iowa State with a 17-10 lead over Iowa. This is the land of corn. Iowa producing the largest corn crop of any state for each of the last 16 years. There's the great movie Field of Dreams. They plowed the corn. This great state of Iowa, and people all over the state with their eyes glued to this one as the Cyclones, 2 touchdown underdogs, are up by a touchdown.
We're getting ready, Pam, to have a tie here.
You think?
Yeah,
bold prediction, Mike Godfrey.
I believe Iowa has really missed some opportunities, haven't run the ball very well. But Drew Tate, dangerous.
Has not played the kind of football we're used to seeing from Drew Tate today, as this kickoff is taken by Sean Green, and he'll take a knee. Iowa starts from the 20 after we hear from Reese Davis.
Pam, every week we honor the singular All-America Player of the Week, and you can get in on the voting. It's really quite easy. All you have to do, text VOTE to 87654 on your singular wireless phone, and you can cast your vote for the singular All-America Player of the Week, and also be entered for a chance to win a trip to the national championship game coming up in Arizona in January. Guys?
Thank you, Reese. So some participation to see who the player of the week is, as Damian Sims now is in at running back. Tate rolling out, And that one is dropped. Looks like he had Dominique Douglas right in the hands. But the true freshman unable to bring it in.
And Dominique Douglas had the football, just dropped it. 3 receptions, great ball skills, but dropped the ball.
Coaches rave about his innate skills, just his innate ability to go out and play football. But quarterback comparisons today, Brett Meyer becoming the all-time leading passer in Iowa State history this afternoon. Also leading his team in rushing. Drew Tate has had a couple of balls dropped on him, including that last one by Davis. And that's what Damian Sims can do for you. A little bit of zig, a little bit of zag. He picked up 5 yards on that. He was really the big play guy last year for Iowa. He averaged 9.9 yards per carry. That was his first carry of today.
Averaging almost 6 this year.
Albert Young, the star running back, has only 22 yards on 4 carries today. Iowa now trying to convert on 3rd down. They have struggled in this category today. Blitz coming, Iowa picks it up, and Tate gets the underneath guy. That's Herb Grigsby, who runs for the first down.
They had the right call on. Iowa did a good job blocking the blitz. They pick it all up, give Drew Tate time. Nice job by the back. Damian Sims. Drew Tate finds the open receiver. First down.
That's the 4th catch for Grigsby. You saw Sims with a terrific block on Bowen, who is coming in on the blitz from his linebacker position. Sims again gets the carry, and this time Bowen is able to stop him in his tracks. Bowen, number 15, when he was a kid growing up in East Orange, New Jersey, got into gymnastics. He had an older brother who did gymnastics, and he said, he's my older brother, I had to do what he did. And he said it actually has helped him with his flexibility in football.
I saw that. Rings, the bars, and the horse.
You got to be really strong to do that stuff. Those guys are ridiculously strong, and Bowen says it has helped him. Played his first year at Garden City Community College in Kansas before he went to Iowa State. Little pump fake from Tate. Dominique Douglas was just waiting for the football. He makes the catch and is down at the 40 of Iowa State. Caleb Berg made the stop, but Douglas had all sorts of time out there.
Hey, Cam, I think you're right when you look at Douglas outside. The pump fake by Drew Tate really makes this go, because all of a sudden the corner's going to bite on the flat route because he thinks Drew Tate's going there. That pump fake really provided the opening.
Douglas now 4 catches for 64 yards, both of those career highs, getting a lot of playing time because Calvin Davis is out with the ruptured Achilles tendon. And another pass complete, a flag down, looks like a face mask, as that pass was complete to Sims. It looked like John Banks came in and got him in the headgear.
Drew Tate looks to me like he's more comfortable. Now he's at ease. Didn't play last week. Came to the coaches before the game, the Syracuse game. He said, I want to play, and they wouldn't let him play. Now he looks like he's in a comfort zone.
Defense, 5-yard penalty. Result of penalty, first down.
Just 5 yards on the face mask against Banks as we go back to that play.
But Drew Tate just finding his back out of the backfield. There's the face mask by John Banks.
So Albert Young has been replaced in the backfield by Damian Sims, who has helped tremendously on this drive. Tate rolling again. Douglas streaking down the right sideline as that ball was thrown out of bounds. Banks was closing fast as we check back in with Reese Davis. That was a long, long time ago, way before any of our times, as Tate. Douglas has become his favorite receiver today as he stretches for the first down. Carper making his 5th tackle of the day, but that's 14 more yards for Douglas. This is Iowa State and Iowa from Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, and we're joined by Mike Gottfried and Jimmy Dykes. Iowa State led this game at the half 14-10, then went up 17-10 on a Culbertson field goal. Iowa has not led in this game, and they're facing a 3rd and 1. Tate finds his man for the touchdown. Backup tight end, Tony Miyake. You were right, Mike Godfrey, they scored. So Drew Tate looking more comfortable here in the second half. Tony Miyake scoring his first collegiate touchdown today.
What a great fake by Drew Tate.
Schlicker ties it up. So Tate has found a couple of guys for their first touchdowns today. Andy Brodell in the first half, Tony Miyake here, and we have a tie ball game. To stand still to watch this game between Iowa State and Iowa, and that was a masterful drive. Drew Tate 5 for 7 on that drive, culminating with this touchdown.
Ball handling is going to take care of Banks and Caleb Berg, the safety. Quarterback, when he ball handles well and fakes well, it affects the secondary and the linebackers. Touchdown.
Tony Miyake, his first catch of the season and his first collegiate touchdown. Short kickoff taken by Austin Flynn, one of the wide receivers, and he is just driven back. Charles Godfrey, among those making the special teams tackle. Iowa looks fired up. Bradley Fletcher in there as well. So we have a tie ball game. Iowa State has the ball when we come back. Has come alive as Iowa has tied this game up at 17 apiece. A nice 9-play, 80-yard drive that took 3 minutes and 32 seconds. Drew Tate, 5 for 7 and 70 yards on that. So 70 of the 80 yards coming through the air. Meyer now goes up top to Hicks, his running back. And Stevie can't hang on to it as we get you back to Reese Davis. Michigan taking on Notre Dame a little bit later today. And Michigan State, as Reese mentioned, next up for the Irish. 2nd and 10. Meyer leading his team in rushing today. Hanging on to it again. Picking up about 5. Mike Klinkenborg making his 4th tackle of the day. Number 40, the linebacker for Iowa. The black tape on the helmet for his dad, Myron, who passed away last week suddenly from a heart attack.
Pam, I know what he's going through. My father died when I was young, and what happens to you, keep thinking the days after the funeral that it's a bad dream, and you're going to wake up, and the best thing he can do is play in this football game. And like Jimmy Dykes talked about, the Iowa family's got to make the difference.
Deciding to come back as that pass is lifted beautifully into the arms of Todd Blythe. Boy, Meyer had some touch on that one as he dropped it in. That's the 4th catch of the day for Blythe.
Just out of the outstretched hands of the linebacker. And Brett Meyer, a best-kept secret as a quarterback in this country.
That was
Blythe with a good catch.
Yeah, boy, Miles is that linebacker you talked about, Mike, who almost got a hand on it. And Brett Meyer, earlier in this game, became the all-time leading passer in the history of Iowa State. He's a running threat as well, and has really turned into a complete quarterback now in his junior season. Klinkenborg takes down Hicks along with the Webema.
Mike Klinkenborg is every place today. Playing with a heart, but playing hard, too. I'm sure he dedicated this football game in his performance in this game to his father and his family.
Had a great game against Syracuse. His dad saw that. Mike had career-high 12 tackles. Had the big tackle in the next to the last play of the game, when they had a terrific goal line stand to hang on in overtime. That pass is incomplete, looking for Sumrall.
And we're talking about Mike Klinkenborg today, playing with a heavy heart. Defensive coordinator Norm Parker said he was very impressed with Klinkenborg back in high school. The fact that he was a 6'7" high jump in track and field, also lettered in football, basketball, track, and in baseball. How about this? He pitched both games of a doubleheader. The first game right-handed, the second game left-handed. He said right then and there I knew I had to have this kid.
He was a special kid as an athlete, and he's a great student and playing well today on a very difficult day. 3rd and 9. Meyer escapes pressure and has nowhere to go as the pass is incomplete. Terrific pressure from Brian Madison and Matt Kroll.
Yeah, Jimmy Dykes talked about the adjustments that Iowa's defense. Norm Parker sent a linebacker on one play last time. Edmund Miles getting more pressure on Brent Meyer. This is one of the best defensive coaches in the country.
And Norm Parker had a loss a couple of years ago himself, his son Jeffrey passing away, and he said it was his best friend, and that's still hard on him and his family, but he knows what Klinkenborg is going through, and you're right, he's a terrific defensive coordinator. Andy Brodell reversing field on the punt return, gets a good block, and Brodell, who scored a touchdown via pass earlier today, has a nice return of 31 yards.
This Iowa football team is sky high right now. Things that have transpired, they're playing a different level in the second half. Good return, good box. Miguel Merrick.
Merrick had a terrific block. And this is great field position as Albert Young is back into the ballgame. Did not play in the last series in which Iowa scored. Gets the carry. Otaba Rubin with the stop.
And what Iowa does is with that offensive line, they zone block. They all take a step to the side that Albert Young's going to run on. So you got all those big 300-pounders. It's like finding a needle in a haystack to find Albert Young.
And Albert is listed as 5'10", but we met him yesterday, and I'm thinking 5'7"-ish, maybe 5'8". And there's some big corn-fed Iowans in front of him on that offensive line. Eubanks, the center, is from Minnesota. Tate improvising, going to pull it down and run, and steps out of bounds. Adam Harper in hot pursuit.
He's smart, though, Pam. When he's running the football, he keeps pumping that football to keep everybody back, that he still has the threat of the pass.
Picked up 6 yards on that, so it brings up a 3rd and 2. And then after the play, Ryan Baum and Tate. Oh, look at boy. Tate's fortunate that he didn't get flagged on that one. We had an unsportsmanlike penalty earlier today on Chandler for flipping the ball at a defender after the play.
They were probably talking about a restaurant after the game.
What are we going to do afterwards? No love lost between these two ball clubs. 3rd and 2, complete again to the freshman, Dominique Douglas. He's from Detroit. Michigan State didn't recruit him. Michigan didn't want him. Iowa did, and what a player he looks like.
Hey, Pam, you're exactly right. Dominic Douglas has been the difference in the passing game in the second half. He's wide open and making catch after catch, which is going to open Scott Chandler. Look anytime soon for Scott Chandler to get the football, because they've opened it up on the outside.
That was 15 yards and another first down as Young goes right up the gut and picks up about 5 yards before Sean Moorhead stops him. Let's go back to Reese Davis.
Pam, Cincinnati has been fighting hard against Ohio State, but that Buckeye talent starting to win out for the second time today. Troy Smith finding Ted Ginn, and Ginn goes into the end zone. And now the Buckeyes seem to be comfortable, up by 13 halfway through the third.
All right, Reese, Ohio State lengthening that lead out. Here we've got a tie ball game, but Iowa is driving Damian Sims back in as the running back for the Hawkeyes. He goes out in a pattern to the left, and Tate has a lot of real estate in front of him, and he will keep the ball himself and pick up the first down. Alvin Bowen with another stop, but Tate in this offense, it's like a totally different offense from what we saw really in the first half.
If they're making plays right now in this third quarter, Alvin Bowen really laid the lumber to Drew Tate.
Bowen coming into this game first in the country in tackles per game, averaging 16.5.
Ken O'Keefe with good adjustments on offense in the second half. The Iowa offensive coordinator.
Young back in the backfield. That pass is complete. There's your tight end, Chandler, as he got it in front of Bowen and made another stop out of bounds inside the 10 with 1 second left to go in the third quarter.
They're going to keep opening up the tight end because Scott Chandler, when you're 6'7" and 257 and you're really a wide receiver at heart, he runs wide receiver patterns. He's a tough matchup for anybody.
5 catches for 52 yards for Chandler, who told us that being a wide receiver really helped him to understand the entire passing game when he was switched over to tight end. Last play of the third quarter, Albert Young dragged down at the 6 by John Banks, about a yard short of the first down. So we'll flip sides of the field, and the Iowa Hawkeyes, as we anticipate a huge fourth quarter. What more could you ask for? A tied ball game between arch rivals as we head to the fourth quarter. The man for whom this stadium is named, Niall Kinnick, a Heisman Trophy winner, tragically killed on a training mission after his career ended here during World War II. And look at these fans, Coach, across the street in the parking lot.
That's where you give the visitors tickets right there. Bob Euchre seats.
Some folks who can tailgate the whole time. You just like us pay to park and you can watch. To our left, this is a huge 3rd and 1 from the 6. Albert Young lunging forward, has the first down, and Drew Tate pumps his fist. He is one fired up quarterback.
Pam, you're right, because before the play, he actually got in the huddle and started slapping the offensive lineman. Now these guys are 6'6", 320. He's kind of smaller than 6 foot, 192, but he has leadership qualities.
You have a feeling if he was bigger, he'd be a linebacker. He'd be a Chris Spielman type. Because he is one tough guy. And he's been terrific in this second half. So 1st and goal now from the 4. Albert Young in the backfield gets the ball and then is taken down by Alvin Bowen. Bowen getting a hold of his leg. So he is stopped around the 2-yard line.
Bowen has a nose for the football. At that linebacker position, you have got to get people off your body and off your legs to make tackles. And Alvin Bowen is very good.
33 tackles in his first 2 games. He only had 33 tackles all of last season, and that was in 12 games. And you see the 8 tackles brings it up to 41, continuing to lead the country in that category. 3 tight ends for Iowa. Power package. Tate up top, and Iowa leads for the first time as his fullback Tom Bush catches the touchdown pass.
Respect of Iowa and Iowa State's defensive line. Drew Tate with a fake again. Tom Bush in the flat. Linebacker can't get out there to cover. Touchdown.
Bush with his first touchdown catch of the season, first reception of the season. Schlicker, the kicker, lives up to his name. So Iowa goes 50 yards in 10 plays to take the lead, up 24-17. Dan McCarney, part of the Hayden Fry coaching tree. 2 coaches on opposite sides of a fierce in-state rivalry. We'll talk about their common thread when we come back. Iowa now with a 24-17 lead over Iowa State. Tom Bush catching his first career touchdown pass from Drew Tate to take the lead for the first time. Kirk Ferentz and Dan McCarney both were coaches at Iowa on this staff before McCarney left to take the head coaching job at Iowa State, and they are two of the very many head coaches in college football who are tied to Hayden Fry. Look at that scoring drive. Drew Tate perfect, 3 for 3. 3 touchdown passes today, all of them to guys who have never had a collegiate touchdown pass before today, as Iowa State will start from the 20. So Hayden Fry, who really turned Iowa football into what it was, and Kirk Ferentz told us yesterday that Fry was a guy who took mutts and somehow was able to pick and find great talent in coaches and players. And look at this line of coaches who either played or coached under Hayden.
That's a pretty good group, and all doing well in college football.
The Stoops brothers, and among those in the McCarney or in the Fry coaching tree is Hicks. Somehow hangs on to the ball. He took a huge lick by Adam Shada. Well, that's a huge hit as we head back to Reese Davis. All right, Reese, in this game, Iowa State trying to come back against Iowa as Hicks gets the carry this time. His helmet comes flying out of the pile, but he does pick up a Cyclones first down.
Devin Moylan hit Stevie Hicks and knocked the helmet off. There's some licks being passed.
Moylan making his first collegiate start today because Marcus Pascal is out with a hurt shoulder. And he came right up around Hicks's head to knock the helmet off. His Iowa team coming out of the locker room very fired up. You have to give credit for Hicks. He held on to the pass the play before with the big hit and held on to the football after getting hit that time. Meyer flares it out. It is complete to John Davis. Picks up about 4 yards. Charles Godfrey, one of the 2 first-year cornerbacks, making the stop on the coverage.
They're giving them the 5-yard catch. And what they're trying to do is just tackle, be sound and safe, and making the play after the catch.
Brett Meyer earlier today became the all-time leading passer in the history of Iowa State. He's only a junior, and he continues to be their leading rusher. This time going up top, and it is incomplete as he was looking for R.J. Sumrall, but Charles Godfrey had him covered nicely.
Keep thinking, Todd Blythe, the guy that caught the first TD pass, the big-time wide receiver that has big speed and big leaping ability.
Blythe has 4 catches for 45 yards. We have not called his name in quite a while. He split wide left. Meyer's going the other way over the middle of the field, and that pass to Austin Flynn knocked away by Mike Humpel. Humpel, the junior from New Hampton, Iowa.
Good coverage by Humpel. The linebacker sitting back in coverage, zone coverage. See him drop back, number 44, and make the play.
There's Humpel, a first-year starter, very good athlete. They're excited about his potential here in Iowa City. Mike Brantner's punt to Andy Bradell. Had a great return last time out. And that one's pretty nifty as well, as he is stopped just short of the 40-yard line by Ryan Cook, the fullback for Iowa State, also playing special teams. So Drew Tate looking like a revived man here in the second half. Nobody loves playing football probably more than this guy, and he leads the Hawkeyes when we return. So a look at the old Capitol building in downtown Iowa City on a beautiful late summer afternoon. This is the last weekend of summer, and it's been a beautiful second half. Drew Tate, 10 of 12 for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns in the second half, and he is back out there again with the Hawkeyes. And as they lead Iowa State 24-17. Tate looking to pass again. Albert Young coming out of the backfield, making the catch, and it's going to be marked out at the 45. Adam Carper credited with the tackle as we head down to Jimmy Dykes.
Well, Pam, on the Iowa sidelines, I was within earshot of the conversation between offense coordinator Ken O'Keefe and Drew Tate. The conversation centered around what Kirk Ferentz talked about at halftime. Make sure we keep spreading the wealth. I found it interesting that Ken O'Keefe really trusts the senior quarterback right now, Coach. He kept asking Drew, what do you see? What do you like? What's working for us out there?
Jimmy, going back to what you say about spreading the wealth, 11 catches by wide receivers. Tight ends have had 6 receptions. Running backs 8. So that really tells the tale of what you're talking about.
As he really has spread the wealth. 3 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers. Here they are. Second quarter. Tony Milwaukee, the backup to Scott Chandler at tight end, an 11-yard pass, and then, or 19-yard pass, and then finally the fullback Tom Bush, a converted linebacker. How exciting for these guys. Their first collegiate touchdown passes come against Iowa State.
And it's big because you need to develop wide receivers here. You need to develop backs and tight ends to catch the ball so he can spread it out. 9 receivers overall have caught footballs from Drew Tate.
Because remember, this is a team that lost a couple of very good ones. Clinton Solomon, second leading receiver last year, and Ed Hinkle. Hinkle was the guy who seemed to be the one they always went to on third downs. And they also lost Calvin Davis just last week with a torn Achilles tendon. So Drew Tate, there's the graphic. He's getting them to all kinds of different guys and doing it effectively. And he's trusting these young receivers. And we haven't even mentioned Dominique Douglas, the true freshman from Detroit, who's made a lot of big plays.
Iowa State's defense needs to stop this Iowa offense right now. They cannot afford for them to go down the field and get a field goal or a touchdown.
It is 2nd and 4. Young with the carry. Doesn't get much as he is wrapped up by Sean Moorhead, former walk-on from Mason City, Iowa.
I've never lost a needle in a haystack, but if I did, I don't know if I'd find it. But Iowa State is finding the needle. They're finding Albert Young. They can't move the ball on them on the ground.
Albert Young, 11 carries now for 31 yards. He had a then career high 140 yards on the ground last year against Iowa State, but they have done a great job of bottling him up. Tate has countered that by going on top and finding different receivers, throwing that one, and Young broke the wrong way. They look at each other, both put their arms up. Grigsby and Young both in the general area.
That was a big stop by Dan McCarney's defense. Now they get the ball back for their offense. Brent Meyer has got to settle down right now. Get the ball to Blythe.
Blythe with 4 catches on the day. Just a couple of them here in the second half. His huge target at 6'5", 210. He caught a touchdown pass in their first drive in the first quarter. Andy Fenstermaker with his 4th punt of the day. Ryan Baum doesn't want anything to do with it. It actually takes a little bit of an Iowa State roll and is spotted at the 18-yard line. Separation Saturday continues on ABC this evening. Zach Taylor leading Nebraska's West Coast offense against a West Coast team, number 4 USC. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. College football lives here.
USC, the best second half football team I've seen for a long time. Their players believe if they go in at halftime, their coaches are worth 2 touchdowns.
That game coming up later on ABC. 10 minutes and 14 seconds left to go in this game. Iowa State finding itself down by a touchdown. Stevie Hicks slices his way close to the 30-yard line. Moylan making the stop. So the AP top 10 is there, but this is our official top 10. Mike Gottfried's top 10.
And this is big because I move them around depending on what they did the previous week. Ohio State number 1. I still like FSU 2. USC 3. Louisville 4. Auburn, I got them 5. Notre Dame moving up. Texas, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, and Oklahoma.
Auburn with a huge game later today against LSU as Hicks stretches for the first down. And Michigan Michigan taking on Notre Dame later, Coach. Who do you have in that one?
I think Michigan can beat Notre Dame today. They need to beat them. If the offensive line of Michigan controls the line of scrimmage like Jerry Hanlon's old offensive lines for Bowl, I think Michigan can win.
That game coming up just a little bit later today. There are 7 games here on Separation Saturday, pitting teams that are both in the top 25. Not Mike's top 25, but nope, the other one, the unofficial one.
Mine is the right one.
First and 10. And Jason Scales, a sophomore from West Des Moines, gets the carry. Klinkenborg coming up with another stop, but that's 5 more yards for Iowa State. Grinding it out a little bit, still plenty of time, just under 9 minutes to go.
You know, when you wear number 1, that means something to me. When you're number 1, Todd Blythe, get him the ball.
Rushing yards squarely, in favor of Iowa State, but we're waiting for Todd Blythe to get involved in this offense again. Oh, nothing doing. Scales stopped by Matt Kroll. Second-year starter, described as a steady Eddie, not flashy, but somebody who just does his job and does it well, and he showed it on that play.
Stays square to the line of scrimmage. Number 53 makes the tackle. It puts a big 3rd down on Iowa State.
That was because it is a 3rd and 6 for the Cyclones. This is a sold-out, jam-packed Kinnick Stadium. All the tickets for this season gone. Can't get into this place.
Quarterback draw.
5 receivers in. Instead, he goes up top, and what a play! Stepping in front of R.J. Sumrall, Miguel Merrick at the last second to flick that pass away.
For a good play by Miguel Merrick. Sitting in 2 deep coverage, reacts to the ball, makes the play, stops the chance for the 1st down.
Merrick, the 2nd-year starter, real tough guy as far as tackles and hits goes, but that was a good coverage play by him. So Iowa State has to punt. Mike Brantner in again. This is his 4th punt. Just gets it off, and it's a short punt. Andy Burdell waves his arms, and it rolls and will stop at the 32-yard line of Iowa.
That was hit an Iowa State player.
7 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in this game. Iowa has the ball and the lead. It is Separation Saturday as we join you from Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. It's college football presented by Cars.com. Iowa playing from behind most of the game now with a 24-17 lead over Iowa State. And they do have the football. The ball has been marked at the 41. Mike Gottfried was correct before we went to break. The ball did hit an Iowa State player, so it's been marked up at the 41. Iowa's been great at home. Their only loss in that streak, 24 of the last 25. They lost to Michigan here last year. Tate now with an opportunity to put this game away, but he passes it on 1st down to Sims, and it's incomplete. Now, you would think normally Iowa football, you could just run the ball, run out the clock, but they've had trouble running the ball today.
Too much respect for the Iowa State defensive front. They've handled them in the offensive line today, so you have to throw and mix in the run, try to get this clock moving.
Iowa, 20 rushes for 89 yards coming into today in 2 games. They were averaging 158 yards on the ground. Tate has had great success going up top. Sims spelling Albert Young again. Picks up 3 yards. Tyrone McKenzie with the stop. Let's go back to Reese Davis. Always have to watch out for that one. We had a bad case of Michael Manawanui last week for Illinois. We haven't had an Illinois Syracuse cut in from Reese lately.
No, I think Syracuse is ahead.
We'll see. Pins and needles over that game. This is a big 3rd and 7. It is complete to Andy Burdell. And Burdell able to break it for a 1st down all the way down to the 31 of Iowa State. He has 2 catches today, 1 for a touchdown and that one for a huge 25-yard gain.
Same play they scored on before the half.
Andy Brodell on the inside screen where he comes back inside, makes the catch. All the linemen are moving outside, so he got against the flow, almost breaks that.
He had 6 catches all of last season. Brodell making his presence known with 2 catches today, but both of them big as Sean Moorhead flicked away that Tate pass.
The inside screen, when you come back inside to catch the football, all your linemen are coming out this way. So you get behind your offensive lineman and just find a wedge in the hole where you can run up inside.
Good camera right there. Good angle.
2nd and 10 for Tate from the 31. And they're going to do a reverse. Grigsby coming around. What a block! A huge block near the line of scrimmage by Marshall Yonda as Grigsby gets it down to the 25-yard line, but Rashawn Parker still on the ground because 6'4", 305-pound Marshall Yonda just flattened him.
And Rashawn Parker, a really fine football player, a freshman, and I'm sure he probably saw this thing coming and nobody yelled reverse, and all of a sudden he got reversed. Wow, watch Yonda come back in there, number 73. That's a hit right there. Wow.
Now, Yonda grew up an Iowa fan. He had a blue cap on his head from the hospital when he came home. His parents took it off, put on a Hawkeyes cap. His first Halloween costume, a Hawkeyes football uniform. And he is living his dream by being an Iowa Hawkeye. And that was one heck of a hit. As you got to be concerned for Parker. That was a 7-yard gain. Parker, who's been a terrific true freshman from Ponca City, Oklahoma, got all of Yonda. And you see his head jerk back, so that's pretty scary as Parker remains on the turf. Parker is a young man that the coaching staff loves. Dan McCarney said, quote, "I love him." Says he's a great kid from a small town, Ponca City, Oklahoma. Great work ethic, terrific talent. And you can only hope that it's just being shaken up from that tremendous hit.
He's got a bright future. But boy, he took a hit from Yonda.
Parker listed at 245 pounds, Yonda at 305. As he is helped off the field. Now the end result now is we have a 3rd and 3, clock running. Iowa was 1 for 4 in third downs in the first half, but 4 for 6 in the second half. One reason why they've been able to take the lead. Tate throws it right to an Iowa State player. Jumping in front of the receiver is Alvin Bowen, the linebacker. Bowen coming up with a huge interception.
And that was a good play by Bowen. Sitting on there, picking off that pass. But the effort by Drew Tate after this interception, trying to go to this big tight end, Scott Chandler, but watch Drew Tate spring out here and make that tackle on Bowen.
And you might remember that Tate got a concussion in last year's game against Iowa State, trying to make a tackle. In fact, making a tackle after an interception. He will stick his head in there. First career interception for Bowen, and here come the Cyclones, but that pass intended for Flynn is incomplete.
That was big. Bowen gives Iowa State snuffing up that scoring drive, and it gives them life to get back in this football game and get a tie or go for the 2 points if they score a touchdown to win this game. Dan McCarney trying to encourage his ball club.
Iowa State only has a field goal here in the second half. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. They have all 3 timeouts left. Meyer. And that ball is knocked away by Adam Shada. Meyer looking for big Todd Blythe. Shada's played a good ball game.
Shada got off the short coverage and makes this play on Todd Blight. Sits, reads the quarterback's eyes. Brett Meyer knows he's going to try to go to Blight. Comes off and makes the play.
Shada, the junior from Omaha, Nebraska, one of those tall corners we talked about way back in the open at 6'1", and he's made a couple of good plays today.
Brett Meyer may have to make a play with his feet because his passing game being covered right now.
Now a 3rd and 10. Meyer throws across his body, and it's almost intercepted by Miguel Merrick. Boy, Merrick had a beat on that one, but could not bring it in. As we head down to the field and Jimmy Dykes.
Pam, something we haven't talked a lot about in this ball game, but the wind is blowing between 15 and 20 miles an hour from right to left in this stadium. Iowa State again forced to kick into a straight headwind. It really hurt him last time and gave Iowa good field position.
Mike Brantner is the punter, and they're going for it, Jimmy. They're not going to try that punt. Interesting decision. 5:10 left to go. This could be the ball game. They are 2 for 3 on 4th down this season. Meyer, can he do it with his feet or his arm? He chooses feet, lunges for it.
I don't think he got it.
He is very close to that 1st down marker, but from up here, it looks like he's about a ½ yard short. This is a huge spot.
He's short.
Dan McCarney looking on and hoping that Meyer was able to stretch his 6'3" frame enough to get that 1st down. Meyer's been a terrific double threat quarterback. He didn't run nearly as much last year as he did the year before, but came into this game averaging 3.6 yards per carry.
Didn't make it.
All right, the chain gang is coming out to make it official, but Mike Gottfried, who's been prescient earlier today, good predictions. Not even close, really, is it?
No.
Iowa ball.
Dan McCarney rolled the dice there with 3 timeouts left.
What'd you think of that call?
5:03 on the clock. I think he's got confidence in his quarterback, the ability to run, but I think I'd have punted the football with 5:03. But when I say that, they have not been able to stop Iowa, his offensive football team. So he probably figured, hey, I got 4th down here. Let's roll the dice and see what happens.
They had it 4th down from the 39-yard line. 4th and 10, went for it, and Meyer picked up about 9.5 yards.
The other thing, Cam, is what Jimmy Dykes talked about, the wind. So you have the wind against you. You got Drew Tate on the other side. I think it was a good decision.
Iowa State is challenging the last play, the spotting of the ball, relation to the line to gain.
It's a good challenge. You might as well challenge it.
Might as well, because this, as we said, could be the ball game. Each team gets 1 challenge per game. If Dan McCarney is not able to get this overturned, Iowa State will lose a timeout. We have a Big 12 officiating crew on the field and a Big 10 replay officials up here in the booth.
And when you take everything into consideration that Dan McCarney was talking about, I don't think he made it.
He had to get to the 49, and I think that's really the best look that we have, as they will be looking at the pictures from our truck to determine. And remember, you need indisputable video evidence. So it's heavily weighted in favor of the call on the field unless the folks upstairs can overturn it.
I'm going to go out on the limb, not much of a limb. Say Iowa's got the ball.
Dan McCarney challenging this spot by Brett Meyer, who was about a ½ yard short of the 1st down that would have kept this drive alive. You see he's out of bounds.
Yeah,
his knee is clearly out of bounds. And it's confirmed. That was a quick look. from upstairs. McCarney exhorting his troops on. Again, this is a guy who played at Iowa, coached at Iowa, and now is the head coach at Iowa State. Actually was the defensive line coach at the same time Kirk Ferentz was the offensive line coach here.
Now he's got to turn it back over to his defense for 3 and out, and you get the ball back, and he's still in this football game. He gambled, and it was a good gamble, and now he needs his defense to make a play.
So Drew Tate leading his team up to the line of scrimmage. 5 minutes and 3 seconds left to go. The ball on the 48-yard line of Iowa State. Tate, who did not play last week because of his strained abdominal muscle, has been nothing short of brilliant here in the second half until he threw the interception on the last possession. And Albert Young, who hasn't had much going on at all today, very close to a first down after that carry. Separation Saturday is continuing on ESPN with Bowden Bowl 8. Tommy Bowden and Clemson take on a tough Bobby Bowden Florida State squad. College football primetime on ESPN tonight at 7:45 Eastern Time, 6:45 Iowa time. Available in high definition on ESPN HD.
That's my number 2 team right there, Florida
They're
State.
not number 9, they're number 2.
They're number 2.
According to the Mike Godfrey
We
top
need to
10.
put my numbers in there.
That last run by Albert Young, his longest of the day at 9 yards. He has 12 carries for 40 yards today. And they go right back to him, and he picks up the first down. Chris Singleton making the stop, but not before Young lunges forward for the first down.
Now Dan McCarney needs to be thinking about using his timeouts on this series.
Well, they only have 2 timeouts left because he lost the timeout after losing the coach's challenge. But yeah, you got 4:10 left. You got to start using it.
Start stopping it.
McCarney has been very successful in this Iowa rivalry. 6-5 against Iowa, 5-2 against Kirk Ferentz. But things are looking bleak for the Cyclones. 1st and 10 from the 35. Young still in the backfield. They go to him again as he cuts it inside and then stretches forward close to the 30-yard line. Alvin Bowen, who has an interception today, now has 8 tackles on the day.
He's going to wait one more down, then he'll start using his 2 timeouts. Drew Tate wisely stand in the huddle, the last possible second, break this football team and let that clock run.
Tate, the senior from Baytown, Texas, said the hardest thing he ever had to do as an athlete was watch the game last week in Syracuse. And remember, they had to go to overtime to win that game. In fact, 2 overtimes. Young again, getting the yards when they need it most. He's stopped about a yard short of the first down by Bowen again.
Got to use it now. Timeout.
Inside 3 minutes. And the timeout is taken.
I like Dan McCarney. I think he's a wonderful coach. Doing a great job at Iowa State. Rebuilt this rivalry. I think his players love playing for him. Fiery guy.
Done a terrific job with Iowa State. Iowa, another nail-biter like last week. We told you about that Syracuse game. They turned the ball over 4 times, but Iowa won 20-13 in double overtime. How about this final drive? Iowa stopped Syracuse 8 times inside the 5, 7 times inside the 2 to capture its first September road win since 2003. Jason Manson struggled at quarterback through 4 interceptions. But boy, did they escape in that one. And Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator, said it may not have been the best goal line stand I've ever seen, but it certainly was the longest. As you folks are seeing, these are all the plays.
I've been there to Syracuse. It's a tough place to play. The noise factor offensively, they had 4 turnovers. Iowa did. They lost 3 replays. They had a goal line stand up. Pass interference calls right and left. Norm Parker, his football team, the defense, won that game.
Tough first start ever for Manson. Threw 1 touchdown but had 4 interceptions, and that was a tremendous goal line stand. Mike Klinkenborg making one of those stops towards the end. 3 tight ends now in for Iowa on a 3rd and 1. Iowa State down to only one timeout. Bush, the fullback, has Young behind him in the backfield. Young gets it, gets the first down. Otava Rubin with the stop. But this is your Iowa grinded out football. Iowa trying to beat Dan McCarney and Iowa State. Iowa State has taken 6 of the last games in this series. The Cy-Hawk Trophy on the line. That trophy first awarded in 1977. But Drew Tate has been spectacular in the second half. He's hit 9 different receivers. 3 of them have scored touchdowns. All 3 of them different receivers, and all 3 of those guys scoring their first collegiate touchdowns in this huge game. Young again, this time off the right side, running behind Marshall Yonda and Mike Elgin, the senior from Bankston, Iowa. Curvey making the stop. We haven't said Brent Big Play Curvey's name many times today. He has not made any big plays. Does have a sack.
He's done a good job of, because the whole defensive line from Iowa State has had big games.
There's Curvey.
Anybody with the name Big Play Curvey, you expect a lot out of.
He has 3 career touchdowns on the defensive side of the ball. He says he likes that nickname. He didn't come up with it, but Big Play Curvey certainly rolls off the tongue. And even though he hasn't made any big plays, as Young gets the carry, you're right, Coach. He's been very steady, and they kept this Iowa running game in check really until this drive.
Really did. May be tiring a little bit here in the fourth quarter.
Iowa looking to start off 3-0 on the season. They're at Illinois next week, and 2 weeks from today, Coach, Ohio State comes to town.
It's a big win last week. You go into Iowa, or into Syracuse without your #1 guy, Drew Tate. You put Manson in there at quarterback. You're on a dome where you can't automatic because of the noise. The fans are right on top of you. So Greg Robinson moves a lot of defenses around, gets 8, 9-man fronts. So Manson gets in bad plays, and all of a sudden they escape, win that game.
Look at the next 5 games. Iowa State, the toughest one on there. And then they have to go to Michigan at the end of that 5-game slate on October the 21st. Iowa State, on the other hand, this is the first of 6 games where they play ranked teams. Now, one of those 6 teams is Northern Iowa, but you know, they were the national runner-up last year in 1AA, and they're always tough. And that game is, fortunately, at Iowa State because the Unidome is a tough place to play. So this is a really big stretch here for Iowa State.
Oh, big. 6 games will define this Iowa State football team.
Playing in the Big 12 North. Not the strongest division in football.
They could win it.
Yep.
They could. Nebraska, we'll see about them tonight.
But unfortunately for them, they got 2 games on the road against Southern teams, at Texas and at Oklahoma.
Not a good place to go.
Here we go. 3rd and 8 now on the Iowa State 22. Iowa State has only 1 timeout left. Fumbled, but Young picks it up as Tate was unable to hang on to it. Can you believe it? Albert Young will score, but a flag is down around the line of scrimmage. And it looked like Tate got an illegal block, maybe a clip on Drew. Yep, John Baggs looks like the victim of a cut block as Dan McCarney comes out on the field. Drew Tate loves to block, makes tackles after he throws interceptions.
Block. Number 5 and number 87 on the offense. 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat 3rd down.
They called the chop both on Tate and Scott Chandler.
See if we can see the play here. Yeah. I think Drew Tate was
something out of nothing, but that touchdown negated. And now 3rd and 23, so Iowa State lives. Down 7, but all their timeouts have been used up. Damian Sims coming back, and he is stopped near the 26-yard line. Clock continuing to roll, and Iowa State can't stop it. Alvin Bowen back into double figures with 10 tackles now.
Kirk Ferentz now trying to think, what does he want to try a field goal? Wants to let this clock run down as far as it can, then probably kick the field goal.
They have 2 timeouts left, but you figure maybe Iowa, you think field goal and not take a delay and punt it, try to nail them back. Some decisions to be made.
Try to kick the field goal.
And they are taking a timeout as we check in again with Reese Davis.
All right, Pam, coming up on College Football Scoreboard presented by Acura, it is Separation Saturday. We're ticking down toward kickoff of those huge games matching top 25 teams. We'll get a breakdown from Lou Holtz and Mark May. We'll also talk about how Iowa got itself together and about Iowa State's decision to go for it on 4th down late in the 4th quarter, and also Michigan State. Michigan State is alive and awake and aware that 2006 is underway. We'll talk about what it means against Pitt and next week against Notre Dame. See you in a bit.
All right, Reese, we look forward to that as the guys will be second-guessing. Dan McCarney going for it on 4th and 10 a little bit earlier.
I don't second-guess him because the win and 4th down and Drew Tate and the offense, I think he made a good move.
And you were right here, Coach, as Kyle.
I want to go on record.
All right. Kyle Schlicker coming in to try a 44-yard field goal. He hit a 38-yarder. His career high, a 52-yarder, hit that against Ohio State last year. So this is definitely within his range from 44. And Schlicker hits the upright, and it goes through. It's a Hawkeye kind of day. The lead is now 10.
Schlicker, the kicker. I get a chance to say that. Cue ball there, and just knocked it off the side.
He's now over 200 career points on this day, and yeah, Kyle, like I knew it. I had it all on. I called it, and that's going to put this game out of reach. Iowa with a 10-point lead, only 42 seconds left to go.
When you play a rivalry game, 3rd week of the season, it can affect your football team. It can be a positive, a negative.
And that's one thing about this rivalry too, Coach. Unlike Georgia, Georgia Tech, and Auburn, Alabama, rivalries like that, these guys play early in the season. They don't play at the end of their conference seasons.
Now, this is a bitter rivalry. Been played well here. Both these football teams are good, solid teams.
That kick, they're going to bring it out. Is DeAndre Jackson. He started this game out with a bang with the 62-yard kickoff return, but would have been better served just to stay in the end zone and take the touchback. 34 seconds left. Iowa State has no timeouts. Iowa State scoring only 3 points here in the second half. Their largest lead was 14-3 in the second quarter. Then you go back to that 80-yard, 7-play drive. Late in the second quarter, Drew Tate hit Andy Burdell to cut the lead to 4 points. That was huge for Iowa.
Big drive.
And they have rolled since then. Tate has looked wonderful in the second half, except for an interception he threw. Looking for Todd Blythe, covered by Marcus Wilson, who has now come in to play some corner.
Pam, how about the billboard?
Yes.
The billboard we talked about. Jimmy Dykes talked about it. You did. They put it up around here. I could tell when you talked to the Iowa players yesterday that they were incensed. They were upset. They said, we have to win this football game. We have to play like we have a chip.
The billboard said this is Cyclone country, showing them winning this game last year and carrying the Cyhawk trophy off the field as Davis makes the catch, but the clock now has stopped as they move the chains. Time now for our player of the game presented by Cooper Tires, and it is Mike Klinkenborg with 8 tackles and playing less than a week after his dad Myron passed away. He missed practice for most of this week and came in and And this Iowa defense has been really good in the second half. And they accentuate it by bringing down Brett Meyer. Brian Madison with the stop. And look at Iowa. They're going over to get that trophy. Running over to the Iowa State sideline to pick up the Cyhawk trophy and bring it on back to the black and gold side. So Iowa avenges that 23-3 loss last year in Ames. Drew Tate finishing up with 274 yards passing, hit 9 different receivers. Three different receivers for their 3 touchdowns. Iowa State falls to 2-1. Their game next week at Texas. Todd Blythe held without a catch last week, was able to get a few today, but not enough as Iowa State falls. Let's go down to the field and Jimmy Dykes.
A couple of key guys right here. Mike Klinkenborg, I'm going to start with you. 3 days ago, you bury your father. He's not here to watch you today. You win the rivalry game. Describe for me how you feel right now, please.
Emotional roller coaster. That's all it is. I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad I came back. My dad's watching the ball. That's all I know for sure.
If you could talk to him right now, Mike, what would you tell him?
I love you. I'll see you someday. I'll see you someday.
Congratulations on your win, Mike. Coach, the message that Mike sent to your team today by playing in this ball game, how important was that?
Well, you know, the family decided that's what his father would have wanted. You know, I know his dad passed, very proud of him from what he did last week. Yeah, I know he's looking down today.
What will you tell your kids in the locker room, the lesson to be learned today from Mike Klinkenborg?
Well, it's a tough duty. I've been there myself. It's a tough thing to go through. Now, Mike's an outstanding young man, and I've said this week, you know, the most important job in the world is being a parent, and his parents are extremely proud of him. They got a great family.
Coach, congratulations on the win.
As you might recall, 2 years ago, Kirk Ferentz lost his dad and then had to coach his team a couple of days later. They won at Penn State. It was very emotional for Kirk. Very emotional for Klinkenborg, but what a great performance by Iowa and Drew Tate in the second half. As they win it, the Cyhawk Trophy coming back to Iowa City. They take it 27-17. For Mike Gottfried and Jimmy Dykes, I'm Pam Ward. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. As we say so long from Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, we take you to the College Football Scoreboard Show presented by Acura. That's coming up next.